And finally, we now have via WebEx, Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke in this committee last week about my concerns with making exceptions to allow any person to serve as Secretary of Defense less than 7 years after leaving regular military service. Mr. Austin, you and I spoke about this issue on our recent call as well. I want to reiterate that my concerns are the same now as they were when we considered Secretary Mattis's nomination 4 years ago. My vote against a waiver that would allow you to serve as Secretary of Defense has everything to do with restoring the bedrock principle of civilian control of the military and nothing to do with you, your qualifications, or your character. Last week, I pledged to my colleagues that if they choose to pass an exception to statute, I will consider your nomination fairly and on its merits. Mr. Austin, I make that same promise to you today. Based on our call last week, in fact, I feel we are aligned in our thoughts on a number of the most urgent national security issues facing our country. I'm pleased to get the chance now to follow up on a few of those challenges that I believe the DoD is facing that concerns me the most. First, I've raised alarms before about President Trump's total disregard for good order and discipline. Over the last 4 years, he has valorized ruthless killing and pardoned war criminals like convicted former SEAL Eddie Gallagher. He directly undermined leaders like former Naval Special Warfare Commander Admiral Green, who attempted to hold service members accountable when they violated their oaths and failed to uphold good order and discipline. And in some communities, like the SEAL community, we're already struggling with service members drifting from their core values, likely due to the stress of 19 years of war and deployments. President Trump's rhetoric has damaged attempts to restore discipline in our Department of Defense. Now, in the fallout of the violent insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th, we're starting to learn the depths of the problem in our military services. Veterans, active duty troops, members of the National Guard have already been found to have participated in an actual attack on elected leaders and our constitutional process in direct violation of their oaths of office. We've seen significant reporting on the ways that extremist groups specifically target military members and veterans, and it's likely that we'll discover more in the coming weeks. Mr. Austin, it's clear that we are at a crisis point. We need strong leadership to root out extremists in the military and reaffirm the core values that have defined military service. If confirmed, what steps would you take to assert your leadership, set the example for the service chiefs, and reinstate good order and discipline?
Well, the activity that we've seen recently in terms of potential racist or extremist behavior within our ranks is, in my view, absolutely unacceptable. And I think you've heard the chiefs, service chiefs, and the chairman recently speak to that as well. I'll work with the leaders of the various departments to make sure that it is absolutely clear to everyone in the department, military or civilian, that this is behavior that does not fit our values, does not comport with our values. And so I will want the leaders of all of the services and all of the departments to make sure that they're doing the right things to set the right example and to create the right climate that discourages and eliminates that type of behavior. And this is not something that we can be passive on. This is something I think we have to be active on, and we have to lean into it and make sure that we're doing the right things to create the right climates.
And there needs to be consequences for bad actors as well.
Certainly, if someone is accused and an investigation determines that that person is guilty of that type of behavior, then we'll take the appropriate actions.
Thank you. Mr. Austin, you oversaw one of our military's largest and most complex logistics operations in Iraq, so you understand better than almost anyone else. Going forward, we can't rely on the same logistics system and practices that we use in Iraq and Afghanistan as we look to future potential areas of conflict. Great power competition demands that we innovate our approach to logistics. And so it is critical that we invest in Transcom and ensure that logistics-related planning factors are central to our op plans and our major exercises. If confirmed, what initiatives will you prioritize to ensure that Transportation Command and the rest of the DoD's logistics enterprise is modernized and resourced to support global operations and to withstand threats from peer competitors, especially when we're talking about in contested environments?
No, I think, Senator, you're absolutely correct. You know, our logistics capabilities really enable us to do the great work that we've done around the globe. I think we have to continue to invest in the right things. I look forward to having a conversation with our senior logistics leaders in all of the branches and also in the department as well. And I want to invest in those types of things that can provide us innovative approaches to delivering the types of logistics that we'll need to sustain ourselves. I agree with you that we won't be able to do business as we've always done it going forward as we're looking to compete with a near-peer competitor.
Thank you. The DoD is also well positioned to lead the way on developing the kind of clean energy technology that can accelerate our fight against climate change, one of the biggest national security threats of our time, and reduce the military's reliance on fossil fuel, which would shorten that logistics tail. If confirmed, how would you lead DoD to reduce its emissions and develop the sort of breakthrough energy technology that can make forward deployed troops less reliant on fuel delivery and other energy-related sustainment?
Well, I think while we're no doubt doing some things on all of our installations now to reduce our energy consumption and reduce our carbon footprint, I think there's more that we can do. We consume a lot of energy, and so I think that we can have a substantial impact if we're focused on the right things. This affects us in a lot of ways. I think that if we look at utilization of on installations and in other capacity, utilization of electrical vehicles and reducing the amount of energy that we're consuming and just a number of other things, we can make a pretty substantial impact on our overall effort here. And so I look forward to working with the administration and my colleagues and working with the department to really improve our performance thus far. I'll appoint a specific person on my staff to help me focus on this issue and to coordinate issues within the department and within the services as well.
Thank you very much. I'm over time, Mr. Chairman.